Hello again YouTube, this is Ajit from Studiostry, and in today's video we're going to look at the underlying mechanics that drives the lip sync and the actual component which drives morph targets and animates them in this project. So in order to use these features, you have to ensure that an instance of the face and voice manager is present on the map. So that's over here. Just drag it and place it anywhere on the map, and you just need one instance of it. Now what the face and voice manager does is it is like a static data store for a name dictionary which maps phoneme names or face names like these emotions with a set of morph targets which make the character look for this face name. So if you want to add more face expression types, you can hit a plus, but hit the plus button. You have to add an element, give it a name, and set up the morph targets with the values you need. And you can always test that out using the skeletal mesh editor by dragging the morph targets and stuff. So that's what the face and voice manager does. Now if you have other characters as well, you could open up this enum, which is under the enum and structs folder. All it stores is the various character types supported, and say you have a DAZ Studio character, Genesis 3 or Make Human, you can add that to the list, and then when you hit the plus button you can add in the next character type. So say you have a Make Human character, save this, hit the plus option, yeah, so we paste, and then you can go ahead and set up the stuff that is all these face names for your Make Human character, or even add more face names as you require. So once this has been set up, there's nothing else within this face and voice manager. Everything concerning lip sync happens in the lip sync actor, which is over here. You just drag it in your scene and you need it as long as you're just creating your lip sync. Once you're done with your lip sync, you can delete this actor and you don't need it anymore, but you still always need the face and voice manager on your map if you're playing face animations. The other blueprint that we're going to look at is the face anim component, and this is the component which you add on your blueprints, your character blueprints, and this component drives the morph targets. You can see the default values that I've set up for this example character, and you could do something like this. Also, the example character implements this interface, and what this interface does is it exposes these functions, and the lip sync tool, when it is trying to get a reference to the face anim component, calls these functions, and it also is used by some of the other blueprints here, so you can easily get access to the face anim component on your character. You can choose to re-implement this interface as and how you require, but just go have a look at it and see what's happening so that you understand. And if you need to re-implement this entire thing on your own, you'll understand why we're using interfaces, because when you have different characters, the interface provides like a common way to access data. Now the lip sync tool has three types of lip sync: Papagayo for manual lip sync, Rhubarb and Pocket Sphinx, which is automated. In the later half of the video, I'll be showcasing the latest addition to this project, which allows you to even edit in sequencer the data structure which is exported by Papagayo, Rhubarb and Pocket Sphinx, and that data structure is over here. All it stores is timestamp and the face names which have to appear at that timestamp. The lip sync actor has a few functions which maps the output of Papagayo or the output of Rhubarb and the output of Pocket Sphinx, and you can take a look at them. And if you need to make any modifications, you should do them over here. Now Pocket Sphinx has 40 phonemes, so that's why this list over here looks really large. But the other two types have only around, I think, 10 or so phonemes. Now the face anim component has two things that I want to cover. What it does is when you play an audio through the face anim component, it requires that your character already have an audio component on it, and since your character speaks through the mouth is what I would expect, you probably want to place that audio component near the mouth of the character. Now the face anim component gets a reference to your audio component and plays the audio cues on it. There is this other function over here which is called by the audio component, and you can see how it's set up within this init function. All it is it is an event which is binded to the on audio playback person, and it gives you how far the audio has been played, and we use that to try and figure out what face expression has to be played at what timestamp. Now we have like a few basic operations that can be added as modifiers to the face expressions. Like say you have this default expression, if you add a plus or a minus or a multiplication, division, or if you make a string of this format with a period, 2 digits and a period, it performs some operations and modifies the expression. And these expressions are again the ones that we had listed in the face and voice manager. As you can see there, it has all the face names listed here. So if we add these symbols before them, what plus does is, say you have many faces listed here, like say default, and then it's probably some example over here. Let's open these up till I see like 2 or 3 array elements. Yeah, here we have 2 members. When you have more than 2 members, by that is 2 array elements, by default it treats it as a plus. So what plus means is it adds the 2 face expressions together. If you put a multiply, it multiplies them, and if you put the subtract, it subtracts them. Now the division symbol doesn't divide it, it sort of it does something different, it overrides. And all the explanations for these operations are given over here on the enum, so you can take a look at this. It's over here under the enums and structs, the various face operation, and with examples provided. So what override does is it just overrides all non-zero values, because when you look at the face morph data, when you open up say this thing, can you see these are all non-zero. And you can also look at the implementation under the face anim component where the mixing of various face morphs happen. And you can take a look at the operations and how they're implemented. Now besides these 5 symbols, we also have 2 additional symbols, and they are the open brackets and the close bracket. Now if you have an open bracket, you can also follow it up with any of the previous operations like override or multiply or subtract, or even this operation which is called the percentage operation. So what the percentage operation does is if you put point 10 point, that means it applies 10% of the default face, and by putting an open bracket before it, all these other frames are treated as keyframes, so the next keyframe overrides the previous keyframe. Whereas if you have the open bracket, it sort of persists, and it persists until you close it again. So somewhere down the timeline again you will have to call or rather place the close bracket so that the persistence ends. So that's everything there is to the face operation. The newest addition is the ability to edit the structures within the sequencer. So let me show you how that works. To start off with, you need to create a new sequence, and I have one over here. Just going to open up that sequence. I'm going to delete everything in the sequence because let's do this from scratch. With a reference to the character that I want to test on placed within the character reference array, I just need one character. I'm going to make sure that I re-import the Papagayo lip sync one more time so that whatever changes I made gets deleted and there's a fresh import. And next I hit edit in sequence. So what it does is it transfers all those keyframes and brings them in. So now and all of this is not within the game mode, this is in edit mode. And I'm going to connect this over here, hit the compile. So what this does is it makes sure that the character ticks in editor. This probably won't be disconnected on your end, but I disconnected for testing. So now let me re-import it into the sequencer by hitting edit in sequencer. Let's see. So you can see all the face shapes update in real, that is within the viewport as you scrub through the sequencer. And if you want to make this even more responsive, you can again open up your character blueprint, go into the class defaults and increase the rate at which the tick happens. So let's make it 0.05. Compile, edit in sequencer again. Yeah. So now we got something which updates more smoothly. Now I was telling you something about having an open bound or close bound keyframe using the parenthesis. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So when I hit the edit in sequence, what it does is it adds a track for each face type that it had seen in the array of all those face shapes. With the timestamps. Now if you want to add another face shape, what you do is you would type in the actual name of the face expression, and if you have a doubt of what are the available face expressions, you can open up the face and voice manager again and take a look at this list. There are 75 elements. I typed in the first element here, and I'm going to add this as a new track. So add this track in. Now we have the angry track added in, but we don't have any keyframes for it, so let me add in a keyframe. So then I add in a keyframe here, and I'm going to make it the open parenthesis. Now you can see beyond this time the character looks angry, but before it the character doesn't look angry. Now and once I add another keyframe and I close it, so the character is angry only inside, but outside isn't angry anymore. So this is what the open and close parentheses are used for. And you can see the other operations also. I told you by default, if there is no prefix to your face name within these structs, it's treated as a plus. So for all of these keyframes, it would have added a plus. And it also adds a second keyframe after this with the question mark, but you don't have to worry about that. You don't touch them and everything will be fine. So what these do is it resets the face as soon as you move beyond it. So if you drag this further, the character would maintain that face for a little longer, and then it would get deactivated beyond the question mark. But the question mark is only useful within the sequencer itself. It doesn't get exported again. If you want to set your face expressions to be over a period of time, say from year to year, you would have to use the open and the close parenthesis. You could also add in like a open parenthesis and plus, or open parenthesis and multiplication, and then close it somewhere else, and you'll have that face expression running for that period. Now if you feel if your frame rate is a little slow as you're scrubbing through the timeline of the sequencer, you could increase the rate of the tick on the character so it updates slow. I'm going to make it say 0.2 seconds, so it updates like 5 times a second. And every time you make a compare or change a character, you lose the references, so you can always get them back by hitting edit and sequence. Yeah, so. But now you can see it updates slow. So these are the new features which have been added in the latest update. Allows you to edit these keyframes within the sequencer, and once you're done editing them, you hit the sequencer to struct and it takes them back inside. And you could always copy these again and save them in your data table for use later. So thank you for watching, and if you found this video useful, don't forget to like and subscribe and share. We are a very new channel with only 60 subscribers so far, and not many people know about us, so please do share our videos. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.